We're in Morristown, New Jersey at the first winter encampment site for General Washington. This was from January to May of 1777, just after the successes in Trenton, New Jersey and Princeton, New Jersey. At this location at Arnold Tavern is where Alexander Hamilton joined George Washington's staff as aide-de-camp. A beginning of a 4-year relationship side by side with General George Washington. Not only was Hamilton a writing aide, he was a riding aide as he would go out to the officers with instructions from General Washington. He was an aide-de-camp, but you may think that's just like any other aide-de-camp. But what really occurred is that, as George Washington stated, Alexander Hamilton was my principal and most confidential aide. While on General Washington's staff, Alexander Hamilton wrote over 50% of the instructions to the officers in the field. He was the principal communicator to Congress in Philadelphia. He was the principal communicator to the governors of the various states. He was the principal communicator to the generals and officers in the field. Alexander Hamilton played really the right-hand man responsibility to George Washington, and that's where this indispensable relationship began, right here, Arnold Tavern, March 1st, 1777. And this was just after Alexander Hamilton had showed his courage and bravery in the artillery from New York State and was respected from a number of generals, reported to George Washington. He observed how Washington's artillery team had kept the British at bay as the forces retreated up through Manhattan to White Plains, back down through New Jersey and into Philadelphia. What was really special about Alexander Hamilton at this point joining George Washington's family was that it began a 22-year relationship with George Washington, not only for the 4 years during the war, but also during the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, then 2 terms as president, and finally during the Quasi-War with France. General George Washington chose as his next major general in order of rank for the Quasi-War, he chose Alexander Hamilton over any other military leader. So this relationship that began here on March 1st, 1777 was instrumental not just to George Washington, but to our nation, because it was General Washington and President Washington who believed in Hamilton and gave Hamilton's very creative, sophisticated ideas and systems a chance to prove themselves.